In the last few videos, we repeatedly talk about inflation, the different types of it, why our money tend to lose value over the time, and how inflation can be imported from other countries or exported out. Now we are back to inflation again, but a different one. Like why inflationary policy are actually favored in today's modern economy. To get a clearer picture of how things works, it's better to contrast it with a complete opposite, the deflationary policy. There has always been in the public favoring gold standards, like, let's go back to the gold standard, something like this, right? Where people actually thought that it could stabilize the currency value, which restrict the government from overinflating the currency supply. That would somehow dilute the currency value of the public. Yet, what if I tell you that if the world choose to continue to be under the gold standard monetary system, we wouldn't have what we have right now? Like how? Like imagine that we are still on the gold standard era. Like money supply growth is really slow. Okay, you preserve the value you have in your hand. The money is like it remain the same static for some like 10 years or something like that. It doesn't inflate. It doesn't devalue. And there is an incentive for you just to hurt your cash, like placing in the bank for collecting interest, for example, so your wealth grows gradually, right? There aren't any downside for not using money. That sounds pretty cool, huh? But think again, if money gets valuable just by sitting in the bank, lesser people would likely to spend. They would just all of them put into the bank and wait wealth to grow. Hands off, which results to fewer transactions in the market, lesser innovation in the public, in the world. People generally do not have the feeling being encouraged to pursue for something new, like a new opportunity, like new innovations, something like that. The economy will stagnate because the money supply hangs. Lesser money circulate within the economy, which results to fewer jobs, slower growth, and harder times for everyone trying to earn a living. So, back to our main questions. Why do most economies lean towards the inflationary monetary policies? Well, it's because the government can have the ability to print money that benefit them. It's kind of true, but okay, if you picture it, the ones who get the new money at first, like the banks, or probably the government bodies, and then the businesses, and then the early investors or something like that, right? They wouldn't much suffer on the devaluation because they got the new notes, right? Only the later holders might feel the heat from the increase of the money supply. But logically, this setup isn't entirely bad. Although it's benefit the government bodies and those who have the money on first hand, right? It doesn't mean it actually really bad. Now, get back to the picture that we're living right now. We are living in an era of globalization where the trade routes are open and electricity makes everything faster and more accessible, and banks have turned money into something that flows effortlessly across the world. These speed up the circulation on the bigger scale, large scales, which is mind-blowing. Let me raise an example of the history. Okay, like back in the 18th century in the USA, people tried all sorts of things as legal tender because they didn't have enough metals like the gold or silver, where most of it were controlled by the British, if you read histories. The alternative items they tried to use it as a legal tender all worn off over the time, like probably like seashells, for example. It worn off over the time, making less usable money supply in the market. These make the money circulation stagnant. There weren't any money circulating within the economy. So trades get slowed down because lesser people have access to the cash for transactions. And then, right, what happened was that the government stepped in and tried something called the colonial scripts. It was used to be required as a backing, like in other countries, like probably in UK, the British Empire, right? The colonial spread, it required a backing, but in USA in the 18th century they tried something new. It's for them, right, they didn't need any backing. It's basically was like it's a paper money printed by the authority. It's not backed by anything physical. Physical, like gold and silver, right? But in the name of the government, okay, the government backed this money, so we no need as credit right now. Now, interestingly, when people starting to use it, meaning they have ease of accessibility of the medium of exchange, boom, the economy boom, skyrocket from the ground. This kind of like demonstrate how crucial liquidity, the flow of the money within the economy really is. Now coming back to today, you can now tell why economists prefer inflationary monetary system over gold standards. Even those internet guru tells you gold, no interest. Money has interest, so we like money. Something like that. Like ever since electricity was invented, like alternative currents, like the person who invented Tesla, who invented alternative currents, that made production more easier, and all sort of invention is possible. And then right, electricity that kind of accelerate everything, right? People's demand have increased as well because production comes up really quickly, and then people's like interested in, oh, this is something new, and then oh, there's something new, something like that, right? More staff and more service are needed, so more and more demand are required from the public. More of everything we human wishes to have can be done, but yet, if the money stays stagnant like the old days, like the history we raised earlier, the economy would have hard time to progress. Where fewer currency circulating means fewer people can invest in stocks, maybe probably start a business, or maybe doing things they want and buy things they need. That's why increasing the money of supply helps put more cash into people's hands, giving them the opportunity to do things they want. Like, like take out loans from the bank, or probably start a business, or even like invest in random ideas. That's the upside. But of course, there is a downside too. Inflation itself, if the people in charge of the money supply overinflate the money supply or print too much, it can hurt the general public, where it will dilute the currency value, making everyday items more expensive. And that's why, right, expert talks about what is healthy inflation, where it keeps a manageable level to encourage growth without causing too much troubles. In my point of view, I have thought about this a lot. Ever since the Industrial Revolution started, economy expansion has become a trend. We cannot go back to the old days. The gold standard instead. Currency backed by credit have become a mandatory for modern era. If you dig deeper, you will see things like I see too. Inflation not only erodes people's money by indirectly forcing people into labor, it also helps the economy have like sufficient currency flowing into the market, allowing businesses, labor ship, productions, everything to run. And this is just another currency topic we ended with. I hope you learned something new today, and this will be the end of the video. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.